communism claims to be a scientific program for the regeneration of mankind and the perfection of human society. It's not surprising that such a claim may sound impressive to young student idealists questing for a noble purpose and a noble goal in life. Students are frequently a strange mixture of intellectual materialism and emotional idealism. Their emotional idealism makes them very, very sensitive to the ills in the world around them. Their intellectual materialism makes them susceptible to a neat argument based on allegedly scientific processes and materialistic foundations which promises to result in human perfection. So students are often recruited in terms of four basic facets of their nature. The first of these four recruiting forces is disenchantment with the capitalist system. The second is materialist philosophy. The third is intellectual pride. And the fourth, unfulfilled religious need. The student is convinced that capitalism is evil, basically evil, fundamentally evil, that it is diseased. Karl Marx developed a very neat packaged argument which allegedly proves that by the basic operation of the capitalist system, because of the profit, the surplus value of labor, Marx called it, but the profit which the investor receives, an inevitable cycle develops within capitalism which results in recurrent depression and war. Therefore, depression and war are the children of capitalism. As long as capitalism continues, according to this argument, recurrent depression and war must afflict mankind. Therefore, if you're against depression and war, you must be against capitalism. Whittaker Chambers, who was a very intelligent student who became a communist during the Depression years and later repented, made the statement that every intelligent person of his acquaintance who became a communist did so in terms of this argument. The argument that capitalism is evil, the parent of depression and war. A corollary of this argument is very, very effective throughout the world, particularly in the underdeveloped countries. They survey the backwardness and the poverty of their own country. They find a very easy explanation of why conditions are so bad in their own country. They claim that it is the result of American imperialism, which is the manifestation of capitalism throughout the world. They claim that capitalism has drained the fruit of labor from these countries through economic colonialism, and therefore the American system, which they call American imperialism, is fundamentally the enemy of the majority of the people of the world. This is the argument which is very, very powerful in recruiting the students in the underdeveloped countries into communism. The argument is palpably false because those countries in which capitalism has not been present, which were not colonies, have conditions which are as bad or even worse than those which characterize the countries in which colonialism has been present and capitalist investments have been made. Nevertheless, this is a very powerful argument with these angry young students and angry young men. So the first feature of communist recruitment of the intellectuals is disenchantment with capitalism. The second feature is materialist philosophy. Having renounced belief in God and any power greater than scientific materialism, they're then in a position to believe that scientific materialism alone can perfect mankind and thus perfect society. If the present environment has created the evil of mankind, the sins of mankind, a selected environment can create a selected character and selected personality. Therefore, a rationale for human perfection is provided. Therefore, the program announced by the communists of destroying the capitalist system, seizing all power and forcibly creating a regenerative environment appears sensible. It makes sense. It appears attractive. The third feature that recruits the intellectual student is intellectual pride. They're very, very conscious of the brilliance of their own intellect. They're grappling with ideas. They observe the majority of the people of the world who are content to just accept the traditions that surround them and concentrate on social life and pleasure and getting as nice a home and raising as fine a family as they can, and they're filled with contempt. And they believe that they're in tune with the great minds of history, and because of the superiority of their understanding and their intelligence, they're historically ordained to this great and difficult task, the destruction of the hideous curse of mankind, the capitalist system, and the creation of the environment which will perfect and regenerate mankind. And there is this sense, this messianic sense of destiny and grandeur that is inherent within this concept of communism. Some idea of this messianic sense of the true communist is given in the speech of Joseph Stalin on the death of Lenin, when Stalin said, "Comrades, we communists are people of a special stuff. We are made from a special mold. We are those who form the army of the great international proletarian strategist, the army of Comrade Lenin. There is no greater honor than the honor of belonging to such an army. There is no greater title than the title member of the party whose founder and leader was Comrade Lenin. It is not given to everyone to be a member of such a party. It is not given to everyone to withstand the stresses and strains that come from membership in such a party. It is to the sons of the working class, the sons of incredible privation and heroic effort, who before all should be members of such a party. That is why the party of the communists, the party of the Leninists, is also called the party of the working class. Departing from us, Comrade Lenin adjured us to hold high the honor of the title, member of the party. We vow to thee, Comrade Lenin, we shall fulfill thy behest with credit." This concept of belonging to the finest, the greatest, the most powerful organization, the supreme intellects in tune with the purposes of history, appeals to the intellectual pride of many of these students and makes them susceptible to recruitment to communism. The fourth feature of communist recruitment is unfulfilled religious need. Man shall not live by bread alone. A society that provides all the material wants of life, such as food, clothing, shelter, transportation in relative abundance, is not enough. Man needs a goal, a purpose, an inspiration, something to give meaning to life and sacrifice. A man is born with a quest for the infinite, and usually this manifests itself in religious experience. But when the doors of religious experience have been closed, atheism has now become the doctrine, materialism the foundation of life, the need for fulfillment for some purpose still remains, and these questing religious forces find their refuge in membership in the Communist Party, the mystic union, as it were, of the finer intellects who are made of one body, and this body, the Communist Party, is responsible for the fulfillment of history's purpose on earth. So the four features of communist recruitment are disenchantment with capitalism, materialist philosophy, intellectual pride, and unfulfilled religious need. To stop this recruitment, which is very important, it's necessary that folks should understand the virtues of capitalism as well as some faults which have been present historically and are being progressively rectified, that they must renounce materialist philosophy and be encouraged in an intellectual humility and an understanding of the limitations of human nature and the unfitness for any human being to have absolute power and control over others, because human nature is weak and sinful. And finally, a religious faith and fulfillment is very desirable indeed. The communists, once recruited, then dedicate themselves to the Communist Party. They surrender their personal ambitions. They go so far as to surrender their personal thoughts, and their lives, and even their thoughts, become the property of the Communist Party. The Chinese communist theorist Liu Shaoqi has outlined this in his book, How to Be a Good Communist. The communists absolutely and unconditionally subordinate their personal interests to the party's interests under all circumstances. The communist student is recruited. He dedicates himself to the Communist Party. He is disciplined and trained within the Communist Party so that he can then go forth as a leader to put the communist program into operation. Now, as the communist scientist, he utilizes social forces to advance communism to power.